Okay, well, welcome everybody. Thank you for setting this up, Robin. Greatly appreciate that. And, our objective today is to share with you about our software and how it could help you in your business. And I'm assuming that we have a variety of different levels of folks as far as their understanding of what we're going to be talking about. So don't hesitate to ask any questions. We would rather answer as many questions as we can to make sure that you have a complete understanding of what we're talking about. And also we have on the line with us our technical support manager, Patrick Clark. He's just phenomenal as far as answering questions for customers and helping them out with anything that they need. So again, my name is Rob Acevedo with Century Software. I'm the Enterprise Solutions Manager at Century. I, in the past, worked for Century for 14 years, from 1990 to 2004. Took a break, did some other things, and came back in August as the Enterprise Solutions Manager. I was really excited to see what Century had, especially when it came to enterprise mobile, where there is a huge need out there for, for clients to have access to Unix hosts, AS400s, and mainframes from their mobile devices. And we'll go through all of that, but Century has been around for 30 years. We started on the desktop side, and now one of our key interests by companies all around the world happens to be direct host access from either an Apple iOS device or just about any type of Android device you can imagine in a wide variety of situations. So let me go to my second slide here. And as you can see, our core technology has always been terminal emulation for 30 years. We're located in Salt Lake City, Utah. And we have been building a high level of customer satisfaction for customers for a very long time. We are privately held, and we're 100% debt-free. We have some very large accounts that we work with. DHL, we had a...
excuse me, Rob.
Yes.
This screen isn't... this slide isn't switching. I think you just have to hit on that third thumbnail, and it should... bring it to our screen.
How about that? Do you see it now?
No, it's not. Is it updating on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not updating on ours.
Are you seeing it on your screen, Pat?
Not updating for me either.
Okay, it's not updating for some reason.
Maybe let's take it out of full screen mode on your side.
I did. I took it out of full screen mode, and
Rob, you're not alone. A lot of people have been having issues with GoToMeeting.
Okay, let's see here. I see a thing at the bottom that says GoToMeeting Pro Screen Sharing is sharing your screen with app.gotomeeting.com. Stop sharing. I wonder if I should hit that.
No, that shouldn't be it.
Okay. Let me see if you see any screen changes. If anybody sees any screen changes, do all you see right now is the Century Software and TinyTERM?
Yes. If you would like, Rob, you can email me your PowerPoint.
Okay.
And maybe it'll work on my side.
Okay.
But we did recently. Yeah, yesterday we had a webinar. Also, he was having some trouble.
Okay. So let me quickly.
Sure.
Do that.
Anybody have a good joke to tell to fill the void? That's disappointing. So for sure somebody would have a good one.
Well, Robin, tell us. You said that you were off on a traveling. Where did you go on your travel?
It was not nearly that exciting. I was in Florida. It was just as cold as the tri-state area. It was maybe just a couple degrees warmer, but it was strictly business. It was nothing, nothing lighting the world on fire.
Well, I happened to go to New York for the for the NRF Expo, and
Oh, okay.
that was quite fun. But it did start to hit the cold front there, so that was something that was a little bit fun to hit 0 degrees in New York.
Yeah, that's thrilling. We're supposed to get a bunch of snow out here on the East Coast. Rob, I still don't have your PowerPoint. Did you send it over?
I'm trying to get it to you. Hold on just one
second.
second.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Getting closer.
Yeah. So how's moving freight in this kind of weather, guys?
Well,
Exciting?
onions need to be on reefers or in heaters with vans because it's so cold in the Northwest, so can't freeze them. So we do a lot of onions. So
yeah, that is a challenge. Can you send me like a couple cases of Vidalias? You got any good Vidalias or red onions?
We don't. We
sweeter side.
peel onions, and Vidalias are very flat onions, so they don't work well on our machines.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
There's so many aspects of this industry that people, the common person not in transportation truly has no idea what goes into getting them food on their plate or stocking shelves at their markets. Everybody wants everything immediately, and they really don't understand all the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. The drivers that get the stuff there, and all the kinds of regulations that are put into place. So,
Robin, did you get the email yet?
Yes, and I am just about to open it. Okay, can everybody see mine/Rob's PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Okay.
That works.
So we're on the large account screen. Everybody can see that good?
Excellent.
Yes.
Very good, guys. Sorry for the delay on that. Not sure what happened with GoToMeeting, but there's always a solution somewhere with technology. So we're happy that Robin was able to do that. Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome.
So here's just a short list of some of our larger clients that we have. As you can see, a lot of them are in the retail side of things. People use our software for mobile devices for all kinds of reasons, and we'll get into that. But just to give you an idea of just what kind of clients that we're dealing with, and we've got a lot more than that, but there's just a short list there. Okay, go ahead, Robin. Here's some of the reasons why we're getting a lot of attention with our software. People are using it for everything from inventory, scanning, retail, warehousing, grocery, transportation, logistics, sales, any kind of ERP system. I mean, it just goes on and on, the number of ways that you can use your mobile device. And again, it's really about having access to any legacy information, even if you're using a front end, having access to that legacy information so that front end can utilize that legacy information for all kinds of things. Okay, Robin, go ahead. Here is some of the uses that I mentioned. In store, you've got your inventory price checking, access to store management systems, replacement of older, expensive, single-purpose scanning devices. In the past, a lot of companies were using, sometimes $3,000 devices or even more expensive than that to do scanning. And nowadays, you can utilize a number of devices that are $500 to $1,000, and with our terminal emulation application for enterprise or even not for enterprise, it makes it so that not only can you use it for the having access to that back end, but it turns it from a single-purpose device to a multi-purpose device, allowing you to do a lot more than just the one thing. And then in some cases, it'll work with custom HTML5 web applications. Pat, can you explain a little bit more about the mobile console for managers and the custom HTML web applications that people might utilize this for?
The custom HTML5, you can essentially write your own web applications, and TinyTERM Enterprise has a built-in browser that will handle that and still allow you to use your scanning hardware. So you can do all the input. You can design the web page, handle only the stuff you need, and do all the input from the scanner without even needing the keyboard, which on these smaller devices is a bonus because of the small size of the keyboard you can have. And it handles full HTML5 compatibility, JavaScript, so you can do anything you need to that you would do on a full-size web page on it with a desktop PC as well.
Thank you, Pat. Appreciate that. And again, folks, if anybody has any questions on this, don't hesitate to unmute and ask at any time. And in fact, let me ask right now: does anybody have any questions about this particular slide about the uses for TinyTERM on a mobile device?
Any of that information critical to using TinyTERM with Classic in Algex?
I'm sorry, one more time, please.
Do we need to have any familiarity with custom HTML5 in order to use TinyTERM with Algex?
No, not unless you are using your own custom HTML5 application yourself. But if you're not, then absolutely not. You can utilize TinyTERM and with Classic and have full access into the Algex system. Okay. Well, Robin, go ahead and go to the next slide, please.
Super.
Here's just a sample of some of the emulations that we do. The full VT series, Weiss adds the IBM 3270 and the 5250 for the AS400s and mainframe access. Typically, folks are going to a Unix host, the AS400 or mainframe, and the iOS application that we have is a third generation program. We were actually one of the pioneers in going into development of a mobile application for terminal emulation in the enterprise environment. So our programs are very well developed and have a lot of wonderful features and are very easy to use for anybody that's used terminal emulation in the past. The enterprise deployment features, depending on how many people you have in your organization, you can do a configuration push. You can lock down the user interface so that people can't change it. You can do a rollover lost device license management, and what that means is if you have, let's say, 30 people in your company, and the device doesn't check in with, once a week or once every 2 weeks or something, then the application will realize that device has not been checking in, and at some certain point it will roll that license back into the pool of licenses to be used by another user, maybe a brand new user or something like that. Session Keep Alive, I'm going to let Patrick kind of explain that a little bit. Pat, will you share a little bit about the Session Keep Alive?
By default, Android and iOS devices shut down the network connection for any app that's running in the background. So if you need to switch over to, say, an email app to pick up an email, you come back into your terminal and you're disconnected. TinyTERM can keep that connection alive in the background. Of course, this uses a little more battery because it's got to actively keep the network alive, but it overrides iOS's default behavior so that you don't have to worry that if you have to take say you're on an iPhone, you have to take a call. 2 minutes later, you go back to TinyTERM, you still have your connection instead of getting disconnected because the network access was shut down. And that's a device-specific thing. The iPhone in that case would have been shutting the connection down because your app went into the background while you took your phone call. You don't have to worry about keeping that alive, switching back and forth so you don't lose your drop or lose or drop your connection.
Thank you, Pat. On the next area there, the customizable on-screen keyboard, it's one of the strong points of our application is our keyboard screens and keyboard remapping that we have available to us. And there's a number of ways that you can utilize that. Again, I'm going to go back to Pat and let him kind of explain some of the different ways that people are using the on-screen keyboard and the customizable keyboard remapping, because people are utilizing that in a whole host of different ways, and it's pretty exciting for them that they can really kind of have so much capability in a lot of different ways with that. So Pat, if you'll kind of share a little bit about that, I would appreciate it. Thank you, buddy.
Certainly. Robin, can you switch over so that you're showing my screen for a minute?
I certainly can.
I've got an iPad screen up right now with one of our custom keyboards on it.
Okay, Pat, do you see that?
Yep. Okay. So in this case, I'm logged into an IBM AS400 system. And you can see down here the bottom roughly quarter of the screen is taken up with the custom keyboard layout. You know, this is actually built specifically for TN5250 emulation in this case. It responds like any normal keyboard would. Oops, hitting the wrong keys here, sorry. You can move through the menus and everything. You can actually, with a bit of time and effort, change the entire layout. For example, instead of a standard typewriter layout, here's all the function keys and a numeric keypad. That's built into this. You can make this the primary layout. We have customers who've actually changed it so all they see is the number pad because all they ever do is numeric data entry and scanning. They'll scan something in, enter a menu number, hit the enter key, and go. You can customize it with macros, keyboard macros in this case. So if you've got something you type regularly, you can map a key to it so you just hit one key. It enters that. You can change the shapes of the keys. You can see the enter key and the plus key on the right are not square. The 0 key on the bottom is long. There's this keyboard key at lower left that hides the keyboard, so you don't even have to be looking at the keyboard. And then just double tapping the screen brings that right back. You can also have multiple layouts that do different things. I'll show you. Okay. Right now we've got, you can switch back to the standard iOS keyboard, one that's more like a PC keyboard, and the one that we were on, which is more like the 5250 hardware keyboard. There are supplemental layouts as well, adds another layer of keys on top for keyboards that don't support function keys, for example. And then if you want to attach a Bluetooth keyboard to the device, you can actually tell it to use the main keyboard layout or show just certain function keys on the screen. You also have control over whether or not the keyboard is transparent, which, as you can see here, puts the text behind the keyboard. And you control just how visible the keyboard is. All of that is built into the product, and all you have to do is a little customization work to get it used. You can also, through this facility, reassign an individual key. So if I wanted F7 to be something else, I could go in here, change what it does, change how it's labeled, and you can see down at the bottom, my F7 key has been replaced with the word high. So the keyboard is extremely flexible. You can both do individual keys and you can change the entire shape of the keyboard and what it does depending on what your needs are.
Pat, what kind of devices can utilize an external Bluetooth keyboard?
Anything that runs iOS or Android has that capability built in. Most of the Bluetooth scanners, if not all of them, effectively act as external keyboards anyway. They're using the same basic functions that a keyboard would.
Excellent. Thank you, Pat. Robin, do you want to take back the screen?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, I hope that was
actually,
helpful.
I think.
Yep, there it is. You're good.
Perfect.
I hope that was helpful to everybody. Does anybody have any questions for Pat regarding the keyboard remapping? Okay, good. So in addition to our product having just a very solid terminal emulation application, we've also included in our enterprise application the TinyTERM industrial browser, which gives people the ability to have their own built-in browser with a lockdown configuration, so that you don't have folks that are going off to Facebook or social media or something like that. It gives them that industrial browser capability just for their specific purposes, so that they can do scanning into browser input fields. They can scan 1D, 2D, or QR codes. Actually, I'm going to let Pat talk about this a little bit more, because this is quite interesting, the ways that people are utilizing scanning in conjunction with their mobile devices and with our software. So Pat, I'm going to turn over to you again, my friend.
Okay. The main thing that I'm working with customers on currently is inventory management. They can walk down the aisle of a store, scan the tag, enter the quantity of items on the shelf, and they can keep a real-time inventory running. It'll tell them what's in the back room, what they can do. We've also got customers using it to keep track of pallets full of material in warehouses, which shelf it's on, how many pallets are up there, that kind of thing. But it can be used, you can scan a UPC code with it and actually turn a handheld device into a full cash register. Everything but the cash drawer, anyway. With the web browser capability, you can actually have it scan a QR code that takes you to a web page, where you're then scanning, barcodes that are just straight line, or the 2D versions along the line of the QR codes. And switching between terminal and browser apps, you can actually have them running simultaneously with TinyTERM Enterprise. A browser in one screen, the classic mode in another, and you can be scanning into both and switching back and forth between the two as needed without ever leaving TinyTERM.
That's great. Thank you, Pat. Appreciate that. And as we mentioned, the enterprise deployment features, we talked about the configuration push and the user interface lockdown. Okay, Robin, thank you for, would you go to the next slide, please?
There you go.
Wonderful. So with TinyTERM, you're also able to run existing legacy apps with no modifications. It provides the industrial browser, as we mentioned, and it really helps your iOS or Android device have a multi-purpose usage. So it really makes it so that it's a very more complete solution for a lot of companies, depending on what they're trying to do. Okay, go ahead, Robin, to the next slide. Very good. Now, this one, I'm going to pass on this one, Robin. We'll just go to the next slide there. These are just showing that there are different ways to deploy. Now, I don't know the size of what most of the companies in your that you're dealing with, Robin, but if it's a small amount of people in your company, then the deployment should be fairly easy. If it gets up, above 10, 20, 30 people, something like that, then there are some different ways that you can kind of deploy that. And that's kind of what this is really talking about. I'm not sure the size of most of the companies that you're working with, Robin, so I'm not sure if this applies to them or not.
The companies that we work with are anywhere from a handful of people up to several hundred. So we do have quite a mix here on the line today. We've got, some, around 5-10 employee companies, and then we do have some that are nearing 100, or depending if it's multi-divisional, it's over 100.
Got it. Okay, then if you'll go back to the slide before this one, and
Sure.
And Pat, if you'll talk a little bit about how our different versions of deployment work with our product.
Okay, as far as the evaluation and configuration server goes, you can download TinyTERM Lite, which is a limited version of TinyTERM. Function keys are shut down, for example. It does not have the browser or the scanning, at no cost from the App Store. We can also provide, and you can request this online at any time of day or night from our website, we can provide an activation key that will turn TinyTERM Lite effectively into Plus or Enterprise for a 14-day period. And this applies, of course, to both iOS and Android mobile platforms. That lets you test it out without having to buy it. We can actually also sell you a license code that will make TinyTERM Lite permanently into TinyTERM Plus or Enterprise. And you can distribute those apps directly through the App Store that way if you wanted to just have people download it to individual devices. Apple also has its business-to-business store. You set in a separate application to that. You can use purchase orders through the App Store that way. Buy TinyTERM Enterprise in bulk. We provide a matching license. Say you buy 50 users of it through the B2B store. We provide a 50-user license to go along with that. And you can just tell people, give them the coupon codes and say, go get it here. They download it. It installs. They add the license. You don't have to worry about managing each device individually. The users can handle that. And you only have to buy it once, effectively, by using a purchase order, credit card, whatever method you prefer. We can sell direct outside the App Store. This allows us to get new versions to you immediately instead of going through their approval process. However, due to Apple's own restrictions, which restrictions, by the way, are not in place for Android devices, if you're working with iOS, you have to be able to sign that. You have to have your own Apple developer account. If you're already developing in-house apps, got backwards there, you don't have to worry about getting that set up. Otherwise, you would need a Mac, and then we provide a tool that lets you sign the file so you don't have to do any coding work through Xcode or anything else. That allows you to do everything directly with the actual files rather than going through the App Store for anything.
Now, that's a lot of information, and I know for some people that may not have complete understanding of that, but if anybody doesn't needs assistance with any of that, like I said, you can call us at any time, and we can help you walk you through any of that, and actually any part of the application itself. We're here 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and we are, our goal is to provide excellent customer service and excellent technical support to make sure that all of our clients have complete functionality with our products and make sure it does exactly what they want it to do. And I think that's pretty much it, Robin, unless anybody has any particular questions that they have in regards to how our product works with the Classic and with the Algex system.
Sure. Anybody have questions?
I do. This is Janice.
I had a feeling. Go ahead.
Who, me?
Sure.
I saw that there were several versions available in the App Store. Which is the version that would be used?
Rob, if you don't mind, I'll take that.
Yes, please.
It depends on your needs. If you're looking at terminal emulation only, TinyTERM Lite, TinyTERM Plus will both do the job. Lite has the restricted keyboard, and a couple of other features are not turned on, like scanning. But if all you need is basic text, basic connectivity, Lite's free and does the work. TinyTERM Enterprise is also in there. Enterprise is fully featured but requires a license to be entered. You can download it for free, but you need to get the license from us. In between the two is TinyTERM Plus, which we also do sell direct. If you buy direct, that purchases, in addition to the product, it also buys a year's worth of support, maintenance, and any upgrades you might need. Plus does not have the browser, but does have the scanning capabilities. So if you just need terminal emulation and you only need a single session, no centralized management, Plus is the one to get. Enterprise, if you need the browser, or if you need central management, if you need to be able to get the application directly, manage your devices entirely locally without going through the App Store, Enterprise is the way to go.
So if I downloaded Lite, Robin, I guess there are some special connection instructions to connect to the Aljex server, Classic.
You know, Jeff, are you on the line?
Yes.
So you said that you had played around with it. Did you need to get any special instructions from support?
No, not from support. But I did just get a temporary license from TinyTERM directly.
So Rob and Pat, is that something that we would do? Which one did you download? And what device did you download it on, Jeff?
I have it on my iPhone. I just downloaded TinyTERM Lite, I believe.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of doing it right now. So you get a default, and it says Start, and then there's global options. And so if I hit the Start, it says error, setup needs to be completed for this configuration. So how would one proceed?
The first thing to do would be to tap the Add New Connection button. Default is there because it can't have nothing in the configuration list.
Okay, so anybody doing it right now, there's a plus in the top, right?
Yes. And if you're on an iPad, you can also see the Add New Configuration button to the right. iPhones don't have enough screen space to show it.
Got it.
So yeah, when you hit that plus, go ahead.
Yeah, it says configuration name, and then we need to name the new connection.
Right.
What's the name that we need to use?
Any name can go in there. That's just for your purposes. So you can tell the different connections apart if you have multiple ones.
And see, and then below that it says change configuration.
Right. You can ignore that. What that allows you to do is if you've set up a config and then set the wrong thing up in it, you can go back and change the connection type. But for an initial, you don't have to worry about tapping that because all it does is take you back to the screen you're looking at right now.
And we're selecting Unix terminal emulation.
Is that what your server runs? To be honest, I don't remember seeing that information.
Yeah, I would think. They're Linux servers, so I'm guessing it would be Unix, if I had to guess. Yeah.
And then now it brings up a connection screen. What would be the host name that we use?
That would be the IP address or the host name of the system you're connecting to.
Okay, so they would need the IP address. Jeff, did you get that far?
Yeah, I did have to enter the IP address.
And how did you get the IP address?
I'd have to check my email here.
Okay. So it sounds like we might need to get the IP address from support, is what I'm guessing. And then the username and password would just be the username and password that each person would utilize to access their system. Is that correct, Pat?
Yes. And you actually don't have to fill out the username and password. SSH connections require that there be a username. Telnet connections do not. But there are automation features built in here that can use them if you want to go that route.
Okay. Jeff, did you have something to say? I thought I heard somebody speaking.
No, I think I'm good over here.
Okay.
This is Janice at BAM. Can I ask a question on the Aljex?
Sure. Go for it.
also use, I mean, it uses everything that we use now, enter a carrier, accounting, everything. We can get all of that from the app.
So once they log into their system, it's just like using it on their desktop. Is that correct, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So if we need to pay an invoice, whatever, all of that can be done. We can do all of that just like we if we were sitting at our desk.
You're now mobile.
Okay, so we're now mobile. Okay, that's what I needed. And then if we upgrade and buy the particular licenses or whatever, is that each device or is it per login user? Like I've got somebody that's got a Mac, got an iPad, and got an iPhone. Do we have to purchase one for each device, or is it just per the user?
It is per device.
Okay, so they really have to decide which one that they want to use.
Right. Or if there's some cases where some people really need it for two different devices or two different, maybe two different, like a desktop and a mobile device, so that would be two licenses there.
Okay, that's what I needed to make sure. All right. Yep. Robin, you've got this on, you're going to have this where I've got a couple people that I want to, that were not able to get on this today for traveling restrictions. They're kind of stuck in Nashville in different areas. Can I email tomorrow? I'm in the process of moving also, so can I email you guys and you guys send me the link and then I can get them so that they can actually watch it also?
Absolutely. I am probably going to have this posted to our website. If you don't see it on our website, actually let me pull up our website, show everybody where we would post it. So you can, on our new website, by the way, that for those of you who have been with us for a long time, we've got a new website. And if you click on training, go to training videos and documentation. Okay. I think what we'll do is we'll post it here under this training documentation. Okay. And then, actually, you want to go under classic? Yeah, I think I'm going to put it under classic. So I'm going to put it under classic, and it would say TinyTERM software by Century, probably, is what it would say. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is we're going to blog it. And I believe that we can make a video link on the blog. And on the blog, guys, I will get that answer of how to get that IP address. I'm sure it's just emailing support, but for those of you, I know we have some agents that are on the phone. For those of you that are not like the admin contact for the company, I'm going to try to get that answer of how exactly we go about that. So I will get the answer and post it on the blog. If you're looking tomorrow and you can't find it, then of course email or call us. You can email sales@aljex.com. I will be out of the office, so it's always better just to do sales@aljex.com and someone will get an answer for you. Okay.
And Robin, if you ever need us to do another...
I started a new configuration with the name Aljex, and it came up with a default port number 23.
Yeah, I got the same.
I deleted that configuration and did it again, and now it's saying port 22. So do we need to specify a port along with that IP address?
Pat?
I'm on mute. I'm sorry. You do need a port specified. For Telnet connections, it will default to 23. For SSH, it'll default to 22. And for SSL, if you're using that, it defaults to 993. But you can change that port if you're using non-standard ports for security reasons.
Okay, so there's obviously some questions that we need to get answered. This is all such a new concept for all of us. We weren't really sure what kind of questions were going to, come up. So the follow-up will get posted on the blog. That'll give a little bit more detail of how to get that, connected. And then we'll also have the video posted in the blog. I believe we can do it in the blog. And then we'll also put it under the Classic tab for training and documentation. I will also, let's see, Rob, if somebody does have questions, do they just contact you guys directly? Like, how does that work?
Absolutely. That's exactly. You bet. Anything that they need from us, they can call us directly at the number that you see on the screen there, 801-268-3088. If they need to speak to me, my extension is 130. If they need to speak to Pat in technical support, his extension is 136.
Pat is 136?
Yes.
Okay, so I will post that information also on our website, and also their information will end up on our partners page on the website, which is now located, sorry, just getting that out of the way, under About Us, and then Partners. We have their information will be posted later today with their contact information, and I'll make sure that I put Pat's contact there as well. If that's so, Rob, I'll shoot an email over to you. Just find out what's best to have on there.
Wonderful.
Okay?
Fantastic.
Great. Any additional questions aside from the obvious? All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Something exciting and new where I was trying to find that stuff for you. Thank you all, and for those of you on the East Coast, stay warm and don't drive in all the snow.
Robin, thanks again for inviting us to share about TinyTERM with all of your folks, and appreciate everybody for being on the webinar with us, and look forward to working with you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call us at any time.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you.